You might have heard about the law of attraction before, but do you know what is the law of reverse effect? The harder you try, the worse it gets. The law of reversed effort. If not, we have talked about it in detail in this video. Make sure you stay with us till the end of the video to find out what is actually happening around you and with you. Let's begin. A fascinating psychological theory that explores the complex connection between our intentions, actions, and results is called the law of reversed effect. This idea, also known as the law of reversed effect or the irony principle, eliminates the paradoxical nature of human conduct in which our sincere efforts to achieve a certain objective may paradoxically result in failure or an outcome that is the opposite of what we sought. Have you ever struggled to get to sleep only to spend the entire night tossing and turning? Or perhaps you overdid trying to impress someone, which caused you to come across as awkward or insincere? That illustrates how the law of reversed effect works. When we put too much effort into something, particularly when it includes parts of our social or mental functioning, the increased strain can lead to tension and anxiety, making it much harder to attain our intended outcome. Psychologists have been interested in the law of reversed effect for many years, and various research has offered strong support for its validity. One famous experiment carried out by psychologist Daniel Wegner and his associates in the late 1980s accurately illustrated this tendency. When participants were told not to picture a white bear, what happened? The more they made an effort to think not about it, the more the picture of the white bear took over. It is comparable to someone saying, "Don't look now, but there's something behind you. You just can't help but glance behind you, don't you?" What psychological mechanism is therefore at work here? The way our brains digest information is fascinating. Too much attention is paid to avoiding or repressing particular ideas or behaviors, which can make them even more prominent in our minds. It's almost as if our unconscious rebels against our conscious attempts, producing an unexpectedly ironic result. Numerous facets of our lives are affected by this psychological phenomenon. In social situations, seemingly overly honest or uneasy can come out as our attempt to impress others. Similarly to this, trying to manufacture a connection in relationships by acting like someone we're not, frequently pushing people away, has the opposite impact of what we wanted. But grasping this fascinating idea allows for the development of a fresh viewpoint. We can concentrate on the process and enjoy the journey rather than fixating on particular results. Our chances of success and fulfillment can be increased by letting go of unneeded pressure and being genuine in our activities. We can adjust and go through life's ups and downs with more grace if we recognize that we can't always control every outcome. A fascinating psychological idea that examines the complex connection between our acts, intentions, and results is the law of reversed effect, also known as the law of reversed effort or the irony principle. This phenomenon shows that occasionally, the more we exert ourselves to accomplish a goal, the more probable it is that we may fail or experience the opposite outcome. If this intriguing theory is supported by any scientific data, you might be curious. Absolutely, there is. Researchers have spent decades studying the law of reversed effect, which has a long history in psychology. Daniel Wegner and his colleagues, a psychologist, carried out a seminal study in the late 1980s that elegantly illustrated the law of reversed effect. Participants were told not to imagine a white bear while taking part in this experiment. What followed was, yes, as you could have imagined. They couldn't stop thinking about it. The more they made an effort to block off thoughts of the white bear, the more they were overcome by them. The mechanism by which our brains process information is what causes this fascinating phenomenon. Particular ideas or acts tend to become even more prominent in our brains when we place an excessive amount of attention or avoiding or ignoring them. It's similar to when someone asks you not to think about a pink elephant. All of a sudden, the image of the pink elephant appears in your thoughts, making it difficult for you to think about anything else. Ironically, this is the result of our subconscious mind appearing to rebel against our conscious attempts to govern our thoughts. It appears as though the brain's natural reaction to resistance is to bring the resisted concept to the fore of our awareness. Now, being aware of the psychological processes that underlie the law of reverse effect can be very empowering. It tells us that sometimes attempting to control an event inordinately may not be the best course of action. Instead, we can change the way we think and take a more unhurried, sincere approach. For instance, we can develop more productive study habits, such as spaced repetition and constant practice when getting ready for a big exam rather than studying all night. Stress is reduced, and our chances of studying efficiently and remembering knowledge are increased when we concentrate on the learning process rather than stressing about the outcome. Similarly to this, working too hard to win over or please others in social situations or relationships can backfire. Instead, we develop more enduring relationships with individuals when we are sincere, carefree, and true to ourselves. It's about embracing openness and authenticity, which frequently result in relationships that are more fulfilling and profound. Let's now examine some instances of the law of reversed effect in operation in the actual world. You'd be shocked at how many aspects of our lives this phenomenon can affect. Procrastination. Raise your hand if you've ever tried to prevent procrastination by making yourself start a task right away, only to end up postponing even more. Of course, we've all been there. We may cause anxiety or emotions of being overwhelmed by putting too much pressure on ourselves to start a task, which will only encourage us to put it off longer. Relations with others. When you're at the party, you want to project an air of confidence and interest. So what happens when you overthink everything you say and are concerned with how other people view you? It's possible that you'll come off as nervous and self-conscious instead. Relationships. The law of reversed effect can also sneakily influence relationships. Imagine trying to impress your crush by seeming cocky or acting different from who you are. Well, this frequently backfires since it can give the impression that you're desperate or disingenuous, which can turn your crush off. You might be curious about how to make the most of this newfound information and stay away from its potential hazards now that we have explored the intriguing idea of the law of reversed effect. The good news is that there is a way to use the psychological idea to your advantage and achieve harmony in our lives. Being conscious of our behaviors and intentions is the first step. Recognizing when we are exerting too much effort to influence a result or when we are placing too much pressure on ourselves is crucial. The secret to escaping the clutches of the law of reversed effect is awareness. We should reorient our attention to the process itself rather than becoming fixated on particular results. It can be quite advantageous to embrace the journey and fully commit to the duties at hand. Paying attention to the stages we take along the road can produce more satisfying and significant results, where we're completing a task, developing a relationship, or studying for an exam. When managing the law of reversed effect, authenticity is absolutely essential. Being real and true to ourselves increases our chances of developing genuine connections with people, which can have a good impact on our social and personal interactions. Being someone we are not in an attempt to satisfy or impress others could backfire, leaving us feeling fake and disconnected. In addition, it is crucial for our well-being to recognize that we cannot always control every outcome. Because of this inherent ambiguity, trying to control every area of life may be stressful and fruitless. In the face of uncertainty, we can find calm by letting go of needless pressure and accepting that certain things are out of our control. Adopting a growth mindset is one practical way to stay away from the traps of the law of reversed effect. Accepting the notion that failure and setbacks are worthwhile learning experiences can motivate us to keep going despite difficulties. We can develop resilience and a positive attitude toward our attempts by reinterpreting apparent failures as stepping stones to achievement. With this, we have come to the end of the video. If you enjoyed watching the video, make sure you like, subscribe, and share the video.